Hey, what's up everyone on YouTube and Twitter? So since the last video 10 days ago now, Bitcoin has essentially slowly grinded up since it broke out of $100,000. There has been some chop, but Bitcoin essentially is just slowly moving up. And we look at the 10 SMA, the 10 SMA is also moving up, which is a good sign that this just wants to continue. We had the highest daily candle close ever today. We also had the highest weekly candle close ever today. And things are just looking very, very strong for Bitcoin as we head into Q1 of next year. Now, this structure that we're seeing has been very, very similar to October, November, and December of last year, where we had the initial move up and then started to slowly grind up. And if I scroll back to last year, you will see the same thing where we had this initial move up in October, then grinded up slowly for over a month, and then we resumed in December. So I do think that Bitcoin is essentially doing something similar to last year. Now, if we use the Fibonacci targets, which we've been using for the past month or so, it was successful on reaching this first 1.618 target of 88,000. We saw it got up to this, and now it's been slowly moving up to the next target, which is the 2.618, which falls approximately around 113 to 114. So I do think that we are probably going to reach this area essentially, and then from there, it will really depend on how it reacts there. If it can completely clear it and break through it, then I actually would expect it to go up to the next target of around 137,000, but this could also be some sort of temporary area for consolidation or a pullback, but we will see once when it gets up there how it reacts to that price level. Now, if we look at Ethereum is still playing out very, very similar to as it did in 2020. Back in 2020, it took about 48 days for Ethereum to break its all-time high after Bitcoin had cleared its all-time high. So if we look back, this was the structure back in 2020. Bitcoin broke its all-time highs on this date, and then about 48 days later, Ethereum broke its all-time highs from back in 2018. So now if we zoom in for today and measure it out 48 days from the day that Bitcoin broke its all-time high in November, the date would fall on approximately December 23rd. So we're looking at approximately in the next week, Ethereum to make a push to this all-time high. We will see if this actually ends up happening. It's basically at this last resistance. Once when it clears this 4,100 area, there's pretty much no resistance until the all-time high. So if it can clear this, it's probably just going to make a straight move up to this level. So we will watch over this coming week if Ethereum could actually make that move and line up to how it did last cycle, or we will see if it needs a little bit more time. But I do think regardless, Ethereum is on track to break out of this and then eventually reach the all-time highs and eventually make new all-time highs. Now, if we look at the alts, especially Bitcoin dominance is seeing a bounce over these past 2 weeks. It's currently moving up. So I am interested to see if this ends up serving as some sort of rejection here. We will watch into the weekly close how this plays out. It's currently above this support/resistance area. So we will see if it closes above it or if it ends up just becoming a wick like it did last week. And if it ends up being a wick, then it would serve as a rejection for Bitcoin dominance, which would propel the alt. But if this ends up breaking up, then that means Bitcoin will probably outperform for a little bit more. But either way, we won't know until the weekly close. So we'll watch the weekly close to see how this ends up closing. Others dominance is also retesting the breakout. Others is alts outside the top 10. So this is your mid and low cap alts. Dominance against the top 10 alts essentially. This is retesting this breakout. So this is what you would want to see in a structure where you see a breakout, then a retest, and then a continuation upward. And now lastly, I'm looking at Dog on Bitcoin, which is a coin I've been talking about a lot on X. I believe fundamentally for a meme, it is very, very strong. And if you look at this chart, it essentially went down 82% during the summer, but has since rebounded and is now consolidating right below all-time highs. And the structure of this chart is just very clean. Since it bottomed, it had a double bottom right here, then it moved up, then broke out, consolidated right here, then moved up, and now is consolidating again. So I do think that as long as this structure holds above 84 cents, that this is going to want to continue upward and break these all-time highs for good. If you happen to be looking for extra content, I do have a Patreon. It's in my YouTube description as well as my Twitter bio. I do videos almost every other day here, as well as answer all questions on the Patreon chat. So if that's something you're interested in, I do have that available. If you enjoyed this video and you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. And if you're watching on Twitter, make sure to also subscribe to my YouTube. I will see you guys in the next video.